So I kind of forgot that we didn't say much. And there was such focus on what we're doing physically that to me, we were speaking in a weird way, even though we weren't, if that makes sense.
So I definitely really went full force with this project, and I fully mentally was there, and I just kind of transformed into Koa completely for 4 months.
There's something alien out there.
So I gotta ask you, this is a massive, massive movie, but it's got a pretty human scale to it. Did that appeal to you? The fact that it's, you know, at its heart, it's a survival story, kind of a father-daughter story in a lot of ways, wrapped up in this kind of massive tentpole movie. Was that something you found appealing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that I usually when movies are big and they kind of the spectacle is massive, but you don't connect with the people. Then I feel like you usually don't connect with the stakes of the movie, obviously. So this already seemed rare in that it was dinosaurs and laser guns and prehistoric Earth, and that's like I'm into it. But then but that it's about these two people who are processing grief, and him who has been isolated for a long time on his own processing grief, and her processing grief in real time, and was speaking to the moment in which I read it, which was the first kind of wave of COVID hitting everybody.
Oh,
and
wow.
Everyone was facing the same problem at the same time. And so to be, offered a movie and I'm sure everybody who made a movie during that time made the connection somehow to COVID, but that was a family movie that anybody could watch, and it was a movie about family and grief, and you don't really see them as found family to the very last moments of the film where they kind of come together. It seems ambitious and unique and rare, so I like all kinds of scales of movies, but I really like it when the audience is big and it can be a lot of people, but there's enough room where you have room to play a character, that it's not a cipher of a person representing something.
Do you find that people also kind of underestimate how difficult of an acting job a movie like this could be? I mean, especially you're fighting dinosaurs. The whole movie, there's no real dinosaurs, though. It's all CGI. Right. I mean, that in itself must be an enormous challenge, right? Making that real to the audience.
Yeah, and how physical they can be. Like I'm of the mindset that if you can do it and you have enough time to do the stunt safely, then that'll get more ambitious shots, and that'll be more exciting for an audience to suspend disbelief, So, but those are, you have to do it. You have to show up and be in the water for the hours that you have to do it, and that to me is fun. That's the exciting part about making movies. That you're playing a tax accountant 1 month, and then a couple months later you're in prehistoric Earth, which is actually the swamp in New Orleans, where you're going to get attacked by a snake and might not make it out.
And also, one of the things that's really kind of cool about the movie is that you're the only one who really has any English dialogue in the film. So you have to carry a lot of the storytelling. What was that like in itself? That, again, that must have also been quite the challenge.
It was exciting about it. Obviously, the physicality was more highlighted because we had less to say. But honestly, I kind of forgot that that the dialogue was so sparse, because we're talking a lot in between takes, and we're talking with the crew and talking with the directors of like what just regular film minutia things. So I kind of forgot that we didn't say much, and there was such focus on what we're doing physically that to me we were speaking in a weird way, even though we weren't, if that makes sense. And we really had to get into the granular of like what does this moment mean? Why does he go to this room I'm making this answer boring, but I kind of forgot that it was that there was no dialogue in it. In the original version of the script, there was even less dialogue.
Nice. Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
I've located one survivor. A child.
I gotta ask you, you've done a lot of big movies before. I mean, you were in Avengers and pretty big, but this is your first time kind of as the lead, as an action hero. I was just wondering if you could tell me a little bit about that. And was it intimidating to be kind of leading the movie on your own? Well, just you and Adam?
Yeah, it was definitely intimidating at first, but I was like, look, you're a Koa with Adam and you're gonna do it and you're gonna do it right. So I definitely really went full force with this project, and I fully mentally was there, and I just kind of transformed into Koa completely for 4 months. So that was definitely challenging and intimidating, but it was so incredible, and it was such a great time. And obviously fighting dinosaurs in the rain with poisonous berries or whatever is kind of awesome. So yeah, it was definitely cool, and doing it with Adam was incredible because he's brilliant in every way. So yeah.
How did you learn the language though? That was interesting, I thought.
Yeah, definitely interesting. So basically Scott and Bryan were like, yeah, so obviously, you don't speak English. And I was like, oh, I don't? Okay, awesome. Because midway through the audition process, it was like, yeah, I was speaking English this whole time. And then there was one version of the sides they gave me, and it's just like, Mills doesn't understand what she's saying. And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? So it was definitely like a little plot twist, but I was like, whoa, like, no way. So then when it got to the point where we were like, okay, these are the lines, these are whatever, they would write down the words, and then I would kind of mesh a bunch of different accents together and put specific emphases on specific lettering and vowels and all of that to kind of make it sound really unique, but also fit the tone of the movie. So that was definitely a process for me to get used to. And obviously when you don't know what you're saying and you're trying to say something, but it's literally doesn't make sense at all. So that was definitely interesting to put those pieces together, but it was cool. It was really cool. I also made up words by myself to say and do what I was saying. So it was nice.
It's part of the language now.
Yeah.
How about the stunts? How was that? How was doing the stunts in this, in a big action movie?
For sure. I mean, any opportunity that I get to do my own stunts, I take. I love doing my own stunts. I love getting hurt and getting bruises. It's the best part of it. It's just like you're really in it and you're doing it, and I was just very down to do it. I think the hardest thing for me, funny enough, was running. I'm a really bad runner. I could do wire work and I could get thrown and dragged and whatever you want me to do. But when it's just okay, Ariana, sprint. I was like, I look so not athletic, and it's really funny for me to watch that. So probably the most challenging thing was running, even though that's basics. But put me on a wire or drag me by my hood, and I'm happy.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
Take care. Good. All right, so I want to start with, this is pretty massive canvas storytelling with kind of a rich mythology that I thought was interesting because you're really building a world here. Is this intended as just the first chapter in a larger universe? Because it felt that way to me a bit.
That's exciting. I mean, we love the world building aspect as just cinephiles. Anytime you sit down and see a Ridley Scott film, your brain explodes into a million places. And so, yes, there's a lot of different sketches that we have in our writers' notebooks of, expanding this world, just because it's exciting to transport back 65 million years ago. It's something, as fans of Jurassic Park and the Jurassic World franchise, you're seeing dinosaurs in modern day, but you're never really stepping back into the actual time when dinosaurs truly ruled the earth. And that was one of the really exciting things that activated our imagination when coming up with this crazy idea of ours.
And also kind of the terrain too. I mean, that was an interesting thing also. And I find movies have never really dealt with that before, how dangerous the world around them could be, right?
Totally. Yeah. And even thinking about what was Earth 65 million years ago, and what was the landscape like. And it was really fun to do research and bring in scientists and kind of help us explore. We were thinking of the Pacific Northwest region, and they were there's actually there's swamps, and it was a more temperate climate than you might have expected, and using that and then going to film the movie in real locations. It was so important to us. It seems like every other big sci-fi show or movie these days are all shot on one of those sound stages with the VR virtual sets, and that's super cool technology. exciting technology as filmmakers, but we also just love hiking up a mountain, carrying camera lenses with the crew, and shooting a waterfall that's never been put on film before. And so we had that opportunity on 65 to shoot in all real locations.
And I mean, you have a great leading man too with Adam Driver. Was he the first guy that you guys went to? Because I couldn't imagine doing any better than him. I mean, he's a pretty great choice.
Yeah, we could not imagine doing any better than Adam. And so he was our first play, and it was a standpoint that we've adored his entire body of work. The reality that he brings to any movie he's in was important. And so even though it was fun to think, oh, Adam Driver is going to fight dinosaurs, it was also thinking from a character standpoint, like he's fighting more than that. He's fighting the sense of loss of purpose, this grief, this undercurrent that was to us working with him as important as, you know, him firing, you know, many rounds into a Tyrannosaurus Rex. So it was always about finding that authenticity and that reality with workshopping with him and rehearsing with him.
One thing that Adam mentioned to me was that one of the reasons he took it on was because it's a movie that literally anybody could go to see and anybody could enjoy. It's a family movie without being precious about being a family movie. Was that an intention of yours, to make something that was kind of accessible for all?
Yeah, I mean, our hope is that it's kind of like it's almost like a gateway film for young audience goers to think about horror and scary movies. It's kind of a bridge to genre we love. Scott and I saw Jurassic Park when we were, you know, 10 years old, and it scared us and thrilled us, and we've always been watching kind of scary monster movies at a young age, and we wanted to make a movie that is scary for an adult but also a younger audience, and kind of brings the family together. It's a movie about family, really.
You and I are gonna get home.
Oh, family.
Ready?